Now, going into next week, what do we expect, right? So I'll put these two lines above here. So that will be between 2881.940 and 2874.297. So I'll wait for price to break out of that area, right? Create a new higher high. Then I'll catch it on the pullback, stop loss below, take profits above. Welcome back, guys. So you can notice how price pulled back into our zone of between 2882.482 and 2874.297. We took the trade around here with some of the students, and you can see how price made its way to our take profit before this solid rejection, right? Now, going into next week, what do we expect? Last week, I actually talked about a potential pullback on the weekly time frame, because right now I'm on the weekly time frame. Price is not just going to continue in a straight line. At some point, it's going to take a moment to pull back. So with that in mind, I'm going to be giving bullish and bearish scenarios going into next week. I'll be showing you zones where you should be taking action if should it go bullish or bearish. All right, we can see this massive rejection at the top on the weekly time frame. So anything could happen going into next week. If we go to the daily time frame, you can see the solid bearish candle which we saw last Friday, which happens to be the last day of the trading week, right? So that could be the beginning of the pullback. Price has been super bullish at some point. We just have to go for that pullback. But does that mean we should just start selling? Well, that's not the right thing to do. So I will go to the 4-hour time frame, and give me a moment to delete these lines. First of all, I want to make this zone visible on the daily time frame. So I'll go back to the daily time frame, and then I'm going to extend this lower section to the top of the body of this candlestick. All right, maybe move this to the right just a little bit. I'll go back to the 4-hour time frame to reveal those zones. I'll drag this to the lower section here of that rectangle. So going into next week, guys, first of all, let me also put a box above here, all right, to simulate my bullish and bearish scenario. All right, good. So going into next week, let me delete this entry. Going into next week, if price continues lower and breaks below this 2867.932 area, if price can break below that zone, we must have created a new lower low around here. So we want to catch it on the pullback into that area and then trade to the downside. All right, my bearish target will be around this 2786.581 area within this this boxed area here. All right, that's where my target would be. But we know that gold is super bullish at the moment. Selling, you have to make sure that you're doing it the right way with your rules-based strategy involved. Meanwhile, if you need a rules-based strategy execution, which we use at letstrade10x.com, you could just enroll in any of our mentorship programs to be able to see how we get into these trades. All right, because for all I care, price could also bounce from here and continue higher since the dominant trend is bullish. So for a more conservative entry, I'll advise you wait until price breaks above 2939.621 area. All right, so what I mean is for you to wait for price to actually trade higher, create a new higher high, breaking above here. Then you want to catch it on the pullback and then trade back to the upside. Alternatively, you want to wait for a change in market structure. That's if price wants to continue bullish from this zone. You want to wait for maybe a lower high, a higher low, then a new higher high. Then you now want to catch it at the pullback, either here or here. If you know what I mean, price has to play out for us to actually pinpoint the entry. All right, so before we now trade to the upside. But for now, on this 4-hour time frame, I will recommend you go with the conservative approach, which if you want to go bullish, wait for price to break above 2939.621, and for bearish, wait for price to break below 2867.932. So that will mean that if price goes bearish, right, our target is actually being derived from the higher time frame, which is here. All right, which is around 2786.581. And the reason is simple market structure. I mean, price created a new higher high here. When some create a new higher low, now a new higher high. probably a new higher low before we continue higher. So that's why I have this area as my bearish target on the 4 hour time frame. All right, so that's that on gold. The next on my list is DXY. If price continues lower on this 4 hour time frame, if I see a rejection from this 108.398 and 108.239 area, if I see a rejection, then I would just assume that price wants to make its way into that monthly bearish target, which is just right here, 106.543. Welcome back, guys. So you can see how DXY has finally made its way to our bearish target. If you've been watching my videos in the beginning of this month, I talked about price most likely going bearish this month, all right, due to the way we closed for last month. If you doubt me, just revisit last 2 weeks video. I mean, I'm talking about the first video for the month, all right. So we can see that, hey, price has eventually made its way into my monthly target. If I go to the monthly time frame, you will see what I'm talking about. Now, going into next week, what will I be expecting to see? All right. So first of all, with this current bearish impulsive move to the downside, let me go to the daily time frame. Price could continue lower. All right, price could decide to break below this our original bearish target of 106.543. All right, and if that happens, we want to now go on the 4 hour time frame or the lower time frames. Wait for your pullback into these regions of 107.120 and 106.543. Stop loss above, take profit down below here, which is 104.290. But if you ask me, I really don't want to see this happen, all right? Because on the weekly time frame and even the monthly time frame, we are still in a bullish market structure, all right? Price has created highs, higher lows, new higher high. I hope this is the new higher low before we continue higher, all right? And obviously, DXY is super bullish, so selling may not be the right thing to do, but at least if price continues bearish, we already know what to do. I've explained that earlier on the daily time frame. Wait for a new lower low to be created, go to a much lower time frame, catch the pullback, and then if we are to sell, we know what our target looks like, 104.290. All right, but what if price wants to continue bullish? Then you know what to do. You want to wait for price to create a change in market structure. I don't know how that's going to happen, but that's what I want to see, a change in market structure. So which means price has to push higher, give me a higher low, then give me a new higher high, 1 2 3 formation. Then I want to catch it on the pullback around this previous high that was created before the new higher high. Then I now want to trade into 108.293. If you don't know how to do all of this, guys, enroll in our mentorship program. That's simple. All right. So that's my outlook on DXY. The next on my list is Euro USD. So going into next week, what do we expect? If DXY goes lower, then Euro USD has to be bullish, right? Price goes up, creates a new higher high, breaking above here and breaking above 1.04018. Then we want to catch it on the pullback and then buy into these obvious highs that price created for us around here. So welcome back, guys. So last week I also gave a conservative approach on Euro USD. I said, hey, wait for price to break above 1.04018, and as you can see, price actually did that, gave us, broke out of that zone, creating a new higher high around here, which is obviously higher than here, came back for that pullback and then took off to our target, right? All of this I mentioned in last week's video. So going into next week, what do we expect? So if I go to the monthly time frame, right, you will notice that price is trading at a strong resistance level. That area used to be a strong support level. Sorry about these dark stuffs you see here. These are my rules of engagement that I teach in the mentorship. All right. So, but anyways, back to the analysis, right? So price is currently trading at this strong resistance level. So buying within this zone now is dangerous. All right. It's safer to wait for price to break above 1.05666, which is this green line, before we now confidently start buying. All right. But as it stands now, I will give you my bullish and bearish scenario going into next week. I'll start with the bearish scenario, which is what I would like to see, since the dominant trend um, from a higher time frame perspective is bearish. I would like to see price trade lower, then give me a lower high, then give me a new lower low. 1, 2, 3 formation. Then those on the mentorship already know where to sell. We usually have two areas that we look for confirmation. Um, when we're trying to trade using this simple technical analysis, because we have other profitable strategy that we use for execution and all of that. But for now, I would now want to see a pullback. Then this is where I want to take action, with this area being our first target. And if price breaks below that area, we continue lower. All right. Then 1.02633 becomes our second target. However, should price continue higher, that's if DXY continues lower next week, then guys, you know already, I'll wait for price to break above this green zone, which happens to be 1.05666. I'll catch it on the pullback, and then we'll continue trading higher. You can apply your risk to reward ratio at this point. All right. So those are my bullish and bearish scenario on Euro USD. The next on my list is GBP USD. Price to break above our weekly resistance, which is around here. Be patient enough for price to break above it. 1.25794. Then you catch it on the pullback. Then you want to continue trading to the upside. Welcome back, guys. So you can see GBP USD has eventually or finally broke out of, because I told you that you have to be patient. This could take the whole week. All right. This is how I do this if I'm actually trading based on my analysis, because regardless of the analysis, we have strategies that can still allow us trade within this range. All right. But for the sake of this analysis, since this is what I do every weekend, if I want to trade based on my analysis, I would rather wait for price to break out of this zone, just like I analyzed last week. Now that this has happened, going into next week, what will I like to see? Now that we have this new higher high, this is going to be a little bit contradictory from what I've been talking about on Euro USD, but I'm still going to give the bullish and bearish scenarios. All right. For the sake of this analysis, I'm going to put one line here. If you like, tell me I have more lines than a subway. That's your business. All right. I'm doing this for analytic purposes, right? So after this analysis, I'm definitely going to delete it because I don't need them. I also don't like the noise. So you're not the smartest in the room, trust me. So anyways, if price is going to go bullish, I'd like to see price pull back into 1.25438 and 1.25290 area. Then we now want to continue trading to the upside, all right, in the clear. If price is actually, if DXY is going to continue tanking, right, I would like to see this happen, pull back into the zone before we buy. But since I am still, DXY is still around my bullish area, so which means if DXY goes bullish from where it is right now, then which means this bullish scenario on GBP USD has to fail, right? So which means price, I'll wait for price to break below this 1.25209 area, all right? Then I'll catch it on the pullback and then trade into the 1.23968 area. All right. So these are the bullish and bearish scenario. But the truth of the matter is, if I'm trading GBP USD and I get a bullish confirmation here, I'm just going to go in, right? Because you need to stick to the plan. Now, I don't care if it fails. I'll only focus on what I can control, which is my stop loss and my target and my risk management. All right. I'm not going to risk it all because there's no guarantee if you look at trading opportunities on a trade by trade basis, right? So if I get a bullish confirmation, I'm going to execute regardless of what happens. If I lose, then I now believe that, hey, DXY is already showing impulsive move of bullish price action. Then I'm just going to go with the sell, right? So that's that on GBP USD. The next on my list is USDJPY. Going into next week, what do we expect? If you are not in this trade yet, except price gives me a pullback into 153.806 and 154.664 area before selling down, then I might just allow this sell just go through, all right? Because this is the only thing that makes sense. I mean, I can't sell and pull my stop loss out in the cold. Welcome back, guys. So USD JPY, you can see how I pull back into my area and then started the massive fall. to the downside. All right, we failed to get a confirmation here. This was where we got our confirmation, and you can see how price rallied all the way to the downside. Currently, we are trading at we're currently floating 3 to 1, right? But going into next week, what do I expect? Now I'm going to refine this. Because if DXY goes bullish from where it is, then this has to go bullish too. So at market open, I'm just going to close this trade, all right, because this is a decent profit already. Going into next week, I'll put a zone here. I'll put a zone around here. It's going to be a pretty wide zone. I'm going to put 2 lines there so that we can quote that price level, right? I'll put another one here. So going into next week, right? If I get a change in market structure around here, say we got is a push up. We don't know what's going on yet. We get a higher low, then we get a new higher high. Then I'll catch it on the pullback and then probably start trading to the upside. This is a more aggressive approach, right? A more conservative approach would be, hey, just wait, which is what I would recommend if you are not yet consistently profitable and you are not in our mentorship program to actually know how to do this exactly. I'll recommend you wait for price to break above this trend line. Let me show you where that trend line is coming from. Meanwhile, we are on the 4-hour time frame. There's one touch, two touch, the third touch, right? Then wait for price to create a new higher high, catch it on the pullback, then we want to continue trading higher, right? Because my bullish overall target has always been 160.000, right? But if DXY continues lower next week, right, then I would recommend you wait for price to break below 151.321, right? That way we've created a new lower low, catch it on the pullback, stop loss above. Our take profit remains our take profit from last week, which is 149.202. Either ways, price can easily move either way. So I've given you the bullish scenario and the bearish scenario. It's up to you to know how to take advantage of that. The last on my list is GBPJPY. GBPJPY showed me pepper last week. I won't even lie to you guys. I sold around here because my original bias was a sell, right? And price took off and stopped me out. Have to be pretty honest, we cannot catch them all, we cannot win them all. And again, going into next week on GBPJPY, I won't even lie to you, I am confused. But I'll still show you how I'm going to take advantage of this. But I am actually confused. Why is that? On the weekly time frame, price just created a new lower low. Let me show you where my confusion is, because sometimes we look at these charts and it just doesn't make sense to us, and it's absolutely normal. So what's the best thing to do? Focus on the other charts that make sense to you. Ignore the ones that is bringing all of this confusion, which is what I may most likely do to GBPJPY going into next week. But still, stick with me. I'm going to show you bearish and bullish scenarios and how you could still take advantage of this. But I'm just trying to explain my confusion, right? Price on the weekly time frame just created a new lower low here, breaking below this previous low. Now I'm seeing a solid bullish engulfing weekly candlestick back above my previous resistance. So going into next week, I don't know what's going to happen, but well, like I promised, let me even show you on the daily time frame. You can see the bearish market structure in action. Low, lower high, new lower low. We have a lower high here. We're beginning to see bearish market structure, right? So you see where the confusion is. So guys, it's simple. Price could continue lower, but let me go to the 4-hour time frame and just plot a mini zone. All right, so on the 4-hour time frame, I have something that looks like this. Then I'm going to put 2 lines, 1, 2. So let's look at that price level. We can see 191.454 and 191.232. So going into next week, if price breaks below 191.232, then I would assume that price wants to make its way to 189.947. So which means if price creates this new lower low, breaking below this previous low, I'll catch it on the pullback, stop loss above, take profit at 181.947. But if price is to go bullish, guys, this is where the most patience is needed. I would wait for price to break above 193.914. I'll be that conservative, right? And then I'll catch it on the pullback. That means I want to see price come back into these areas of 191.914 and 193.136 before we continue trading to the upside, with our target being 195.753. Guys, there are lots of things that come into this analysis that cannot be explained in one YouTube video. Once again, if you want to take your trading to the next level, you know what to do. Visit letstrade10x.com. Our card payment is currently down. The crypto payment is up. We hope to fix that issue within the week, or latest by next week. But if you want to make payments, we still have other payment options that we can provide you. Just visit letstrade10x.com and we'll sort all of that out. Thanks for staying to the end of this video. I wish you a successful trading week, and I'm going to see you in the next video. Have a wonderful week ahead. Bye, guys.